Saliva. I want to talk to you about
Mm,
Saliva. I've always wanted to talk to you
mm.
about Saliva. Since the first time I saw you play, make those runs against England, I've always thought one day me and Robbie will just be sitting around talking about spit. Um, there's three different cricket balls that we use. I mean, there's more than that if you count the SG and the Dukes as well. But there's three kind of different cricket balls. Saliva and sweat are very important for the red ball because the red
Mm,
ball is all leather and you want to
mm,
smooth over the leather so you can keep it smooth on one side. The white ball is
mm,
not is leather, but it's leather undercasing,
mm,
and it's a very different kind of ball. It's actually paint on top of the ball, which is why it
mm.
acts. It's why it's such a terrible ball. We shouldn't use it, but that's a different
It's a
conversation for another day.
terrible ball, man.
I hate the white
Why did
ball
they
so
stop
much.
making white? Why did they stop making white leather balls? I don't know. It's so
Well,
stupid. It's like,
they're still white leather. The problem is that they have tried to fix it and they haven't actually made it any better. Does that make sense? So they haven't made it worse because if you go back to before you played the old balls, like I remember in 2003 watching guys in the nets bowl a ball 4 times and it a dribble to you and you pick it up and go, "What is this?" We wouldn't use this at a club
yeah,
game, right? But you're right.
yeah.
I still don't understand why pink balls haven't been invested in a little bit more. But the question is, saliva doesn't help a new ball swing in white ball cricket. It does in red ball cricket. And the reason it does it in white ball cricket is because you need the paint on the ball to make it swing in white ball cricket.
Mm,
Do you
mm.
believe in saliva at the death? Because there was this hilarious incident last week where when everyone said, "Oh, the ball's reverse swinging more for Mitchell Stark because of saliva," and he's like, "No, I don't use saliva at all." So I wonder how much of this is mental with the cricketers because they've grown up thinking that saliva is a really important thing, so they're trying to do it more,
So,
or how much saliva is better than normal sweat when it comes to smoothing out the ball.
so with the new ball, it makes a little bit of a difference with the red ball because, like I'm telling you, yours truly was one of those guys who took the ownership when the bowlers were bowling with red ball cricket for in Ranji Trophy. He said, "We'll shine it. We'll keep the
Yeah.
ball as good as possible so that our fast bowlers can get the wickets." And we had a team of like incredible fast bowlers in our side, so we try to keep the ball as new as possible. So saliva did help. Outside of that, with the old ball, especially with the white ball, saliva uh, helps to the extent of making the ball heavy, right? What helps in the back end of a white ball innings is that if one side of the ball can be heavy, whether it's sweat, whether it's saliva, that doesn't really matter. If you can get one side of the ball heavy, then you can get the ball to reverse and tail back in, depends on how your action is.
I think that's really interesting. So I thought, so what you're talking about is loading, right?
Mm.
And so there's two kinds of reverse swing. I don't want to get too
Mm.
sciencey with you, but there's two kinds of reverse
Oh,
swing.
okay.
There's
The
one,
sciencey way. The
yeah.
people listening to the pod actually enjoy the sciencey parts of it. So I reckon they enjoy it. So go for it.
So generally, what happens is you have one side of the ball is smoother and one side is rougher, right? And that's how you
Mm.
get conventional swing. But at a certain point, one side of the ball actually gets lighter than the other side of the ball, and it's
Mm.
generally with a red cricket ball that the rough side gets lighter and that the other side gets a little bit heavy, and then the aerodynamics flip on the ball and they go in the other direction. But there's two different ways of getting reverse swing, and that's what I'm interested in. And that's what I'm interested in what you just said. In a red ball game, you generally want the ball to be dry to get it to reverse swing, and you get one side really, really dry, and you get the other side so it's smoother, and that reverses. But in a white ball game, what you're telling me in T20 cricket is that conventional, the old style of reverse swing, which is called loading, which is literally
Mm.
just licking the ball until it gets heavy on one side. That still happens in T20 cricket and one day cricket. That's what you're telling me. And that is what saliva helps with.
Yeah, and that's what Afridi was doing. When we saw him biting the ball, he wasn't actually biting it. He was
He
actually
was
licking
hungry.
it.
He was hungry.
No, but
Do
yeah,
you,
you're absolutely right. I think he was basically, and I think it's basically getting the ball heavy on one side so that the ball can tail back in whichever side is heavier. You aim that towards the batter. So if you want to bowl an in-swinging Yorker, and so when you actually, and with the white ball you can't see it anymore. With the red ball, there's at least
yeah.
a chance to see. If you know as a batter the ball's reversing, then you can pick it up and you can actually tell. And there have been a lot of instances when we are batting in first class cricket.
where the non-striker will look at the ball as he's running in, and then we'll hold the bat. And we picked that up. We picked that up from Sachin Tendulkar, by the way. So if he holds it in the right hand, you see the
Yeah.
ball's coming in. Hold the bat with the left hand, and the ball's going away. So that would happen, and a lot of guys would like that information. A lot of them wouldn't like it. I was someone who didn't like it. And I was like, I just want to watch the ball. Wherever the ball
So
is,
do you know why? Do you know why it affected some people and it didn't affect others? It's about, so essentially, when you are facing a ball, the difference between you and me, other than that you're a great athlete and can play cricket, but the difference between you and me is I can pick up lots of things of a bowler, right? But I can't process them in my brain to be like, oh, he's coming wider on the crease now. He's cocked his wrist here. He's going to be able to do this. And even the little bits that I can pick up, I then don't have the ability to move my eyes from the first 3 meters of the ball to the last 3 meters of the ball the way that you do once it's over 75 miles an hour, right? So your brain is doing all that subconsciously. When a batter is saying to you, oh, I'm going to hold my bat in this side or this side, your subconscious brain starts to stop, right? So you actually get to a point where you're now thinking consciously. Now, if you're Kumar Sangakkara or Sachin Tendulkar or Steve Smith, you can actually flip between conscious brains and subconscious brains really, really easily. And that's why they're at the very top of the tree of batting skill. Most people, like you, can do one or the other. They can either be completely conscious or completely subconscious. So when you're trying to do that sort of stuff, it's just changing all of your processes, right? And that's why reverse swing works so well. Because what reverse swing does is you have to reprogram your brain to be like, okay, the next ball, it's going to look like it's going to swing away, but it's going to swing in, which is a conscious thing. So the Martin Crowe, have you ever heard the Martin Crowe story about how Martin Crowe was basically the first guy to work out reverse swing? And Martin Crowe, what he did is really simple. And if I tell a normal non-cricketer this, they'll be like, oh, well, that's easy. Everyone should do that. But what Martin Crowe did was he just went, okay, all I have to do is play for in-swing every ball. If I just train my brain to play for in-swing every ball, if Wasim or Waqar swing it away, it'll miss off stump, right? But he retrained himself to play in swing every single ball. And suddenly, from that point forward, people got a lot better against reverse swing. But the reason that's hard is because Martin Crowe is a genius, right? He's a fucking genius. And so he could do that. Yeah. Whereas for someone like you, you're like, I know I have to do this, and then your rhythm goes, your timing goes. And so now it's not even that the reverse swing is beating you, but you're not playing subconsciously the way that you normally do. And it's the same as, like, Yuvraj Singh has a great record of runouts, right? Yuvraj Singh was a really good one-touch fielder and he had a good arm, but he's not the world's greatest athlete. He wasn't covering 30 meters in the field, right? Alan Border, another guy, not covering 30 meters in the field. But the reason those two get so many runouts is because as a left-hander, when you're a batter and you hit the ball into the gap, what's a natural gap for you is the left hand of a fielder, right? So you take off. By the time you've realized that that guy is left-handed, you're already in a little bit of trouble and you might get back. But if you look at the fielders with the best run-out percentage in the world, they're almost always left-handers. There's heaps of them at the top. You know, Michael Clark, Jadeja, Border, Yuvraj. They're all up at the top of that list. And so that's what your brain is doing, because you are making so many micro decisions that you don't even know about as a human being in that moment. And so reverse swing just tilts your brain a little bit. So here's my question. Do you think that saliva helps reverse swing?
Yeah, with the white ball,
more than sweat.
Saliva, so after a point, yeah, I think it does. I don't think it matters if it's saliva or sweat, to be honest. I think it's about getting one side of the ball heavy. That's the simplest way. Like anyone, like if someone doesn't know and is basically a box and you want to teach them how to, is basically a block and you want to teach them how to reverse swing the ball, just say, okay, listen, this side, make this really heavy and just try and bowl the ball out. The ball will go in.
Perfect. All right, that's good. I'm actually talking to Aaron Briggs from the ECB. Aaron Briggs is the guy who split a cricket ball in half and does science on cricket balls. So let's see if he agrees with you. I think he will. I originally was a little bit doubtful with the white ball and saliva. Red ball and saliva I'm fully invested in.